Good morning. Happy Wednesday. For our last video, well, maybe I might have one tomorrow depending on how you guys do. I thought I would work through the evens of the review that y'all need to do, and then you do the odds. You do not have to worry about 23 through 25, and then also 17 and 18 are just kind of like a little excessive with how much you have to multiply and everything. So, don't worry about those. So if I've omitted them, 17, 18, 23, 24, 25, you don't have to do those. Unless you just want to. I mean, you certainly can if you want. Okay, so I'm going to remind you of how to do these problems. I'm going to do the evens, and then you can do the odds. Alrighty, it says find the value of each element. So first of all, remember, lowercase letter tells you which uppercase letter to go to. So because I see a lowercase d, I'm going to go to this matrix here. And then 1, 2 means the first row, and 2 means the second column. So the first row and the second column. So where those two things overlap is the number 3. Okay? So that's the element or the entry that I'm talking about. All right, for the next one, it says A. So I'm going to go to capital A, and it says row 3, column 4. So 1, 2, 3. So row 3 and column 1, 2, 3, 4. So what does that mean? If there is not a fourth column, then it's not possible. Okay, so remember, these will pop up from time to time. There's not going to be a ton of them, but there will be, some examples where things are not possible. Okay, so let's look at the next set of directions. It says dimensions. So if we look at C, and it says and any special name. So like row, matrix, column matrix, square matrix, etc. So for number 6, C is 1, 2, 3 by 1. So 3 rows, 1 column, and the special name would be a column matrix, because it is tall like a column. Number 7, I know I'm not supposed to do that one for you, but it's asking you, first of all, can you add them? If you can, what would be the dimensions once you add them? Okay, so just think about how the dimensions would change or if they would stay the same. So on number 8, it's asking, could I multiply, first of all, B and A? Because if they're stuck together, that means multiply. So B is a 1, 2 by 1, 2, 3, 4. So a 2 by 4 times to an A, which was a 1, 2, 3, 4 by 3. So first of all, can I multiply them? And the answer is yes. And so that resulting matrix would be the outer 2. So our answer would be a 2 by, I wrote 2 by 3. Okay? All right, so now the next set of directions is asking us to do like the actual operations. All right, so again, you need to be careful. Sometimes these might not be possible. So the first thing we always need to ask ourselves is, can we do it? All right, so let's look at number 10. Number 10 is saying add E plus 2 times H. All right, so if we're adding or subtracting, remember the dimensions have to be the same. So the dimensions are the same here, so we can do this. So we're going to just bring this one down. I'm going to distribute my 2. And now I can add them up. And remember, you're just going to add entry plus entry. So 5 and negative 4 is 1. Negative 3 and negative 2 is negative 5. Okay. So that should be your final answer there. All right, let's look at 12. So 6 times G minus 4 times D. And we can do this as well because They have the same dimensions. I'm running out of room, but that's okay. All right, so we're going to have now when I distribute the -4 to each of these, it's going to turn into a positive, okay? And so now I can add them up. Do I have room? No. So my answer will be okay. So does everybody feel okay with that? And now the last two I'm asked to do are going to be multiplying. So first of all, we need to be really careful that we actually can multiply them. So F is, and then E. All right, so this is a 1 by 2, and this is a 2 by 2, so I can do them. So my answer, I should anticipate my answer to be a 1 by 2. So 1 row by 2 columns. So like this. Okay. Now I'm just going to do a little scratch work as I do. Let me get a different color. All right, so I'm going to do row times column. So I'm going to have 10 times 5, which is 50, plus 20 times 0, which is 0. So my first entry is going to be 50. Let's use green so it stands out. Then I'm going to do the same row times the next column. So that's 10 times -3 is -30. 20 times 1 is 20. And then that'll give me -10. And so there's my answer. Okay. And then number 16 is H times D. So H is a... Sorry, I'm trying to stay consistent with colors. All right, so this is a 2 by 2, and this is a 3 by 2. So what do we notice about that? You cannot do it because these inner dimensions, 2 and 3, why did I do that? The 2 and the 3 do not match. So number 16 is not possible. Okay, I think y'all will have one more not possible in the bunch on this page. Okay, so see if you can try the rest of them. With numbers 9 and 13, you can leave them in fraction or decimal form. I typically tend to leave it in fraction form, but I don't, it doesn't really bother me. All right, and then for the last two, number 20, let's make sure we understand what the operation is. 19 and 20 are different. 19 is asking you to add. 20 is asking you to multiply, right? So I'm going to do, let's first make sure we can, a 2 by 2 and a 2 by 2, yes. So we should anticipate our answer to be a 2 by 2. So I'm going to kind of put the shell right here. All right, so we're going to do row times column. Now we have to be careful here. Not everything is going to add together, so we need to be aware of that. All right, so 4 times 1 is 4. 3 times 2a is 6a. So do y'all see what I'm saying? Like there right off the bat, that cannot add together. So you're just going to leave it 6a plus 4, or you can leave it 4 plus 6a. Makes no difference to me. All right, I stay on that same row, and then I go to the next column. So that's 4 times 3 is 12, plus 3 times 3a is 9a. Again, those cannot add, so I'm going to leave it as 9a plus 12. I'm putting it in what we call standard form, if you remember that. But you could leave it the other way. All right, then here and here. So a times 1 is 1a. I don't have to put the 1. And then 5 times 2a is 10a. Now here we actually can add these because they are like terms. Okay. And then lastly, last row times last column. So that's going to be 3a plus 15a. And we can add those as well. So that would give me 18a. All right, so there's the final answer there. We're not solving, it just says simplify, so that's literally all that we can do. You're going to do something similar on 19, although I think 19 might be slightly easier because it's not multiplying, it's just adding. Well, I mean, there's distributive property, but then it's adding. Now, 21 and 22, you are solving for the variables. So remember, you have to set the entries equal to each other, or the elements equal to each other. Now, I have a 4 out front here, so before I do anything, I'm going to distribute the 4. And I would say you have to be careful that when you distribute it to the y minus 1, you have to distribute it to both, okay? Okay, so remember how I taught this, that like there's multiple ways you can do this and get the correct answer. I'm going to try to go about it the simplest way. So I need to solve for x, y, and z. So I see this has x, y, and a z, so I'm not going to use those. I'm going to use all the other elements, okay? So I'm going to put 4x equal to 20. And so x equals 5 by dividing. I'm going to put 4y minus 4 equal to 8. So that's 4y equals 12 by adding the 4. And then y equals 3. And then I'm going to put 12 equal to 6z and divide by 6, so z equals 2. Now I'm going to go back and plug these in really quickly. I think this answer is 5. So is 4 times 5 going to give me 20? Yes. Is 4 times 3, which is 12, minus 4, does that give me 8 over there? Yes. And if I plug in 2 here, 6 times 2, does it give me 12? Yes. So I'm checking my answers. Okay, so that's a little bit of all of the basics of matrices. Again, if you wanted to try 23, 24, and 25, you certainly can. I have the answers and everything. But what I really want you to try is, or are, the numbers 1 through 21, the odds. And again, just submit them to me via picture. It'll be easier that way. Or you can print it out. I'm going to attach the PDF if you want to print it out. All right. This might be it, you guys. Y'all have a good one and good luck. Finish strong, okay?